Let's talk about our next topic, loop control instructions. Yesterday we have discussed about for loop. Today we will discuss about while loop. So while loop. While loop executes the statement repeatedly while the given conditions remains true. Loop is used when you want to repeat a block of code again and again as long as the conditions is true. If the conditions become false, then the block of code stops. In while loop, the condition is checked. First. So it is a little bit different from for loop. In for loop, we used to write or indications, conditions, and increment and decrement updations, right? But in while loop, we will write only a conditions here, and then we will print a block of code inside the inside this curly bracelet. So conditions is checked first. If the conditions is true, then the program will run. If conditions is false, then the block of code will stop. So after executions, conditions is checked again uh, to ensure that it is true or false. So loop continues until the conditions becomes false, right? So what is the difference between for loop and while loop? As we can see that in for loop, we will write our indications, conditions, and updations, but in while loop, we only write our conditions here. So what is the main difference? So main difference between for loop and while loop is, for loop is used when the indications is given, when the count is given, right? And while loop is used when the count is not given. In that scenario, we can use when the condition is more important, right? In that scenario, we can use a while loop. So these are the main difference. Okay, let's see the while example. Let's start our example by include studio.h, put an output. Then we can start our main block of code from here. So in for loop, we used to write for an indications, conditions, and updations into one form, but in while we will write into separate form. Like first of all, we will indicate our I is equal to 1, right? Let's see. Then we will write like our syntax, while, then condition is I is less or equal to 5, let's say. And then what we can do is, we can simply print hello world, right? After this, we can simply update just like our for loop. In for loop, we write our updations, our indications, conditions, and updation in one form. But in a while loop, we will write into this way, but it's the same thing, just the syntax and the way we have written is different, otherwise it's the same thing. So after writing this, what it will print is hello world will print up to 5 times. Let's see 1 2 3 4 5, because we have written so from 1 to less than 5. So if okay, let's talk about our next example of while loop. Print the number from 0 to n if n is given by user. So this question says that you have to print up to 0 to n, which is n is given by user. So user is going to enter a nth number. So in that scenario, let's verify our first declare our variable, which is n. After that we have to print f. So this will display into our terminal. So enter your n number, right? Now after printing a n number, you just have to scan it, and place into the memory of where the n is declared, right? So in here we have to declare first of all data types, which is integer. After declaring integer data type, then after we have to place into our, this is like a memory, placing into a memory. So now we will start our while loop. So first we will again declare our I variable. From there we can start our while loop, which is we have to write a conditions. So while, what we can write is, let's say, so I is less than or equal to n, then print, let's identify this is integer, right? Then here you go, print the I, and then you have to just increment it, right? After incrementing, let's see. So in terminal it will ask our enter your nth number. So we have to enter our nth number. If I enter 7, then it will print up to from 0 to 7, because I have already indicated the I is equal to 0. So for that reason it will print from 0 to 7. So this is a simple example for while loop. And our declarations for indications is done above the while, and it is little bit different from for loop, but the process and the logic is same. Next topic of our loop instruction is do while loop. In do while loop, first of all the code will run first, and then it will check the conditions. So first of all, at least for one time the code will run, and then it will check the conditions. So first it will do the work, and then it will check the condition. So this is opposite from the while loop and for loop. So here the code will run first, and then condition is checked. If condition is true, then it will repeat again. If condition is false, then it will stop. So it is little bit different from while loop and for loop. So let's see our do while example. Let's start from input and output, which will store, then after int main, in int main, then it will return. Okay, so this is a simple step. Now we have to declare our variable, which is like int I is equal to, let's start from 1. I want to print from 1 to 9. For that reason, then you have to declare first what print, because it will first of all print, then after it will check the conditions. It will do the do the things, and it will at last it will check the conditions. For that reason we have to write first. So here we have to mention it, which one integer we are going to do it, integer number, and then here I. So for that reason we have to write an increment. If we did not mention the increment, it will go into infinite loop. How? By seeing a condition, we will talk about it. So in while condition we will put I is less than or equal to 9. So whenever we don't mention our increment or decrement, it will go into infinite loop. How? Because after 1 it will only check 1 is greater 1 is less than or equal to 9, it's true. So it will check every infinite times. So in every infinite times it will come true, so it will go into the infinite loop, because there will not be increment. So if there will be increment, then it will check 1 is greater than or is less than or equal to 9, yes, true. Then again it will go and again it will increment it, and if it increment 2 times, then 2 3 4. So so if we didn't mention an increment or decrement, it will go into infinite loop. For that reason always mention a I plus plus. Hopefully it will run a program like this. Thank God. You can see from 1 to 9 it just print out, right? So this is also the same way, but little bit different from for loop and while loop.